It's interesting, this gospel passage from Luke is also the gospel passage that the church uses on Thanksgiving Day, just a few weeks away. And I read something this week that really struck me, and the scripture scholar wrote that Thanksgiving is not an observance or a holiday that could have arisen in an atheistic society or culture. How can you give thanks if you don't believe that there's somebody to give thanks to? And the root of our own national holiday began all the way back in 1621 when a group of pilgrims, religious outcasts from England, had come to what is now the U.S., had come to the Massachusetts colony and survived a very harsh and brutal winter. And so after the first harvest in the new land, they had a Thanksgiving celebration, a Thanksgiving feast that all could participate in. And that was a custom, at least in Massachusetts and probably other parts of the country, but it was during the time of the Civil War that Abraham Lincoln first made a national holiday, feast day, out of Thanksgiving, around 1862. And so since then, all across the United States, we've been observing that holiday. And it's good to be reminded, I think, of its religious roots, its roots in a Christian's faith in God, God's blessings, God's mercy, God's gifts. And the scripture readings this weekend, especially the Old Testament reading from Kings and the gospel reading from Luke, remind us that our attitude in the face of God's blessings should be one of gratitude, should be one of thanksgiving. Both of the stories from the scriptures involve the miraculous healing of two non-Jewish people. Naaman, the Syrian, was actually an enemy of Israel and Judah. But he hears through a captive, an Israeli captive, that there is a great prophet in Israel who might be able to offer him healing for his leprosy. We don't get that part of the story in today's reading, but Naaman, the Syrian, makes a trip to the king of Israel, and the king of Israel directs him to Elisha the prophet. And then this is where the story picks up. Elisha tells him to go and bathe 7 times in the Jordan, which he eventually does and is healed of his disease. Okay? Having been healed, he goes back to the prophet and offers him a gift in exchange for the healing. And when the prophet refuses, he says, "Give me 2 mule loads of earth, of Israeli dirt, so I can take it home and erect a sanctuary to the God of Israel, because he is the only God." So his miraculous healing brings him to a faith in the God of Israel, and it brings a desire to offer thanksgiving to that God through whom he was cured. Okay. In the gospel passage, another foreigner, a Samaritan, is healed by Jesus of his leprosy, and he rather quickly comes back to offer him homage and thanks for the miracle. Our faith in God's power to help us, to heal us, to forgive us, to save us, should evoke from within us a desire to offer praise and thanksgiving to him for whatever he has given us. And what do we have that we haven't received in our life? Okay. And rather than just devoting that moment of thanksgiving to one day a year on Thanksgiving, we Catholic Christians thank God every time we attend Mass, every weekend or weekday. The Eucharist is a word that comes from ancient Greek that means thanksgiving. So the Eucharist that we celebrate, that we will celebrate here in a few moments on the altar, is our great act of thanksgiving to God for all of the good things that he has given us. So let's really cherish and value that tradition of offering thanks to God. Like the leper from Samaria who Jesus healed, may we also give thanks to God for the many blessings that he has bestowed on us, whether that be, a physical healing or something else. I think it's good that the church calendar gives us this gospel passage today. We can really reflect, we can really meditate, we can really think over the next, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, on what we can be thankful to God for, and how can we show that gratitude to God in good and generous acts of worship and praise.